I'm so happy to have you join us for our next session of the Power Up Virtual Book Club. I'm your host for today's discussion and the author of the book, and I'm really excited to have you join me as we delve deeper into section 2 of the book titled Power Play, with a focus on chapter 5. Now, chapter 5 is titled Replace. You have the power to rewrite your story. Replace stands for the R in the process, and it's all about taking the limiting beliefs that we uncovered and brought to our consciousness in the last chapter. Those that may be holding us back or influencing our behaviors and decisions in a way that's not really aligned with who we are currently as adults and where we want to go with our future best self. So today we'll dive into the chapter and start with a quote that I'm really fond of. The secret to change is to focus all of your energy not fighting the old, but on building the new. A quote by Socrates. I like this one, and it connects back to the last chapter where Maya Angelou's section quote was all about getting over the difficulty of our own limiting beliefs. And the quote by Jen Sincere in chapter 4 was around how sometimes other people's perceptions and beliefs create illusions of how we're supposed to act or behave. Again, all about how bringing this information to our consciousness and being more aware allows us to have the chance to actually rewrite our story. We'll go into that in just a little bit, but first I'd like to start with an excerpt from the book. So let's get started. You get to be the captain of your brain and tell it what you want it to do, feel, and think. You can be the creator of those new neuronal cell communications and newly developed pathways in your brain. How cool is that? It does take some practice in being present. It does require you to be mindful and aware of your emotions, thoughts, and sensations. You must be willing to face old fears and negative feelings or sensations and identify what caused them in the first place. Once they're exposed and expressed, you can swap them out with a new, more positive and empowering one. Ones that are aligned with your values, passions, and purpose. It may take some time, and you may have to fake it until you make it, but you will make it stick. So, in this chapter, we start with a quote by Socrates, who asks us to focus on the new. If we think about replacing and rewriting our story and swapping out those limiting beliefs or old ways of thinking about ourselves and experiencing the world or behaving and focus on the new, anything is possible. Let's start with a discussion question for today. How many of you believe that you can learn new things, that you can train your brain to learn a new hobby or activity or just something new? Why? And why not? Depending on what you answered. Great, that might have been a fairly easy one to answer. Let's move on to discussion question number 2. Do you believe that you have the power to create new ways of thinking, to be the captain of your brain? Yes or no? And depending on what you answered, why or why not? Take some time and think about that. And jot down your reflections. Talk it over with a friend or a family member. Ponder it yourself for a bit. And we'll come back to those 2 questions in just a second. All right, 2 questions. They may seem simple, but let's see as we go a little deeper. I'm guessing that most of you said, yeah, I can learn new things, a new activity, a hobby, lyrics to a song. I know it's true for me, and we've been learning new things our whole lives. How to ride a bike, drive a car, use a typewriter or a computer or cell phone, or even when the update happens on our cell phone, how to utilize all the new updates that are there. So sure, we can learn new tricks. How about the question of, do you believe, do you think that you can create new ways of thinking and experiencing the world? That one might be a little bit more tricky. How many of you really do feel that you can be captain of the ship and tell your brain how to think, act, and behave? It's true. There's science behind it. It's called neuroplasticity. And basically, you can leverage the way in which your brain works to lay down new chemical and electrical interactions between the nerve cells and lay down new pathways. So as you move forward, you can use those new pathways over and over again and make it easier for your brain to respond using those pathways instead of the old ones. It takes practice. Practice makes perfect, right? So you do need to use those same pathways over and over again so that they get well traveled. Remember, your brain likes to conserve energy. And so it's going to go down the easiest way that it can, the easiest pathway it can find. So the more you use it, the more your brain will use it going forward. The less you use a particular pathway or way of acting or responding, the less likely your brain is going to be able to jump on that going forward. It's all about how your brain works, and you get to be the captain of that. Isn't that cool? To make your brain work best for you, it's not just telling your brain what to think or thinking a thought. You actually want to use as many senses as you can to help your subconscious mind take in that data and create memory banks that it can go back to and refer to as easily as possible through those new neural pathways that you're creating, those new electrical and chemical ways of sending information through your brain and into your higher consciousness. So let me give you an example. If you are walking by a mirror and you talk negatively in your head to yourself by what you see, and you're aware of it, you can say, "Stop, brain, that's enough. No negative self-talk about me today. I'm looking awesome." And you can think that affirmation, "I look awesome today," as you pass by the mirror or the window with your reflection. That's great. You can take it a step further. What about putting your hands on your hips and saying, "I got this"? How about a fist pump? "Yeah, I'm all that. I look awesome today." Or even a dance. Sing. Use as many of your senses as possible. Might feel a little silly at first, kind of uncomfortable, but the more that you do it, and the more that your brain learns that this is the way that you're going to react when you pass by an image of yourself, it will start to more easily travel that pathway and bring that forward into your consciousness instead of that old negative self-talk. You get to rewrite your way of experiencing the world. You're captain of your ship. You just got to know how to use your brain, and you'll learn more of that in the book. I'd be interested to see or hear what you're thinking as you're pondering a little bit. It's a lot of information and kind of a new way of going about your business. It can make a big difference for you going forward, though. Give it a try. Try it a few times. Use as many of your senses as you can and see what happens. I'll see you for our next session. Have a great day.